not as popular as we are led to believe. Big shocker. The left tries to trick us. All right, there's a lot going on, tons. I got so many things. You know, when I do show prep, I have usually twice to 3 times as many items as I can probably fit in. And so a lot of times, most days, I'm calling audibles in the middle of the show and just going to different things. So today, socialism and leftism, we're going to see. We're going to try to get to some J.D. Vance. We're going to try to get to some testosterone, and there's a couple of other items. All right, this is The Ordinary American. I'm your host, Paul Sarkis. This is an anti-leftist show. The left tricks us. They've been doing it since the beginning. Why? Because they can't win on the merits of their argument because not enough people want it. I say that all the time. If the left, if the Democrats weren't stealing our money and stealing our elections, they'd be like a 20% party. Now there's a poll that seems to point that that is true. Okay? This was out, where is it? Yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Okay? Wait, hold on. I don't know what's happening there. There it is. The commies, wait, that's the wrong one. I put up the wrong one. That's the second one. This is the first one. Did I get it right? Let's see if I did it right. Yes, there it is. Okay. All right. A new poll shows socialism isn't as popular as the left wants us to believe. Why? Well, let's go back. We've put this book up a lot. Where is it? There it is. A little bit of a glare. The Revolt Against the Masses by Fred Siegel. Fred passed away. I found that book through the great Andrew Wilkow. This is an AI story too, sort of. You can go into your AI, plug in The Revolt Against the Masses by Fred Siegel. Please give me a 100-word summary of the main point. And here's what it's going to tell you. Or you can read it, which is better, because it's an unbelievable book. But here's what it tries to tell you. There is a effort on the left, okay? They think they're smarter, better, more equipped to make the decisions, etc., than everybody else. Well, where did that start? It started basically post-World War I, Fred says, where the intellectuals coming from Europe, the Frankfurt School, etc., they felt that society was unfair because they should be at the top. They were the smartest. They got the best grades. They should be the ones making the rules for everybody else. Essentially, you can think about fascism. Most of the left in America, pre-World War II, pre-Franco, who was really the first fascist over in Europe, they thought it was great because it gave them control over everybody else. What does Fred Siegel say? Fred Siegel says there is the birth of leftism is a resentment. The elites and the intellectuals hated the middle class in America in particular. Why? The middle class didn't need them, didn't want them, didn't need them. Why? Because of capitalism. Capitalism is not a system, it's the absence of a system, the absence of control. So the intellectuals felt that they should be at the top of the food chain. In order to do that, they needed control. So their original sort of hierarchy was the elites and the very bottom, because you can buy the very bottom. The second sort of thesis, or how he gets to that in that book, is that between basically media, academia, and the elected class, they create the illusion that this is popular and everybody wants it. That's what this poll says. We see it because everybody puts it on. Now, go down here. Oh, yeah, here's the poll. So, New Echelon, by the way. Echelon Insights. That is a pollster research agency. It is considered a right-leaning agency, but Nate Silver graded it at 0.11 separate from the mean. So only a slight, very slight deviation from what he would consider to be down the middle, okay? So you can see if you put in the 0.11, it doesn't change this poll at all. Capitalism has a plus 20, Free Palestine minus 14, Democrat Socialists of America minus 21, Socialism minus 29, Communism minus 73, okay? By the way, this is important, this gradation, because the Free Palestine movement is removed from America. What do I mean by that? Palestine isn't here. For most of the people who were pro-Free Palestine. It's just something that they say so they can get liked by the mean girls and the cool kids. It's not a real thing. It doesn't affect their life. Gay people who are Free Palestine, they don't have to go live there and watch their fellow gay humans thrown off of bridges and killed for being gay. Feminists don't have to go over there and watch women abused, made to wear the burqa, their fault for everything, etc. They don't have to do that. So it receives the least negative. Why? Because it doesn't really mean anything to people. It's just a word. Then we go to the Democrat Socialists of America. Again, it's a concept more than it is anything else. It's somebody sort of like role playing. It's a charade. Somebody goes to college and they pretend like they're Democrat Socialists of America so they can go to the cool parties. Okay? Then you start to get up there. Socialism and of course communism is minus 73 because everybody knows communism is awful. So when you get there, that's that big delta here. That's it's never been done right. We'll do it right. Okay? The problem is the Democrat Socialists of America, they have a different idea than what they tell everybody. So this is one of the things I wanted to mention. The DSA says it has 120,000 members. That's the organization itself. We're a country of 380 million people. Let's take out 30 million illegals, roughly. So we're 350 million. It's less than half of 1%. It is not meaningful. Go back to Fred Siegel. They trick us into thinking that it's this massive movement. And then what happens? We're going to get to J.D. Vance later on for this, him and Joe Rogan. Then what happens? They get in and they corrupt things. Now we can't get back. Now it's like I've fallen and I can't get up. The clapper, okay? You can't get up because they corrupt the elections. Once the elections are corrupted, it's hard to right the ship. They know this, okay? They know this. So this poll is a good thing. It's basically saying it's not that popular. Most Americans are not really for it. Why? Because most Americans, just like our ancestors in 1776, in the mid to the late 1700s, most Americans loved their freedom, even if they professed to want some collective nonsense. What do I mean by that? Back during the Revolutionary time, it said that roughly a third of the people wanted to stay loyal to England, a third of the people wanted to stay out of it altogether and just farm and do their thing, and a third of the people wanted to fight for their independence. Okay, that makes sense. Because two of those thirds, the stay loyal to England and I just want to do my own thing, just wants to avoid conflict, okay? Which is most people. That makes sense. Today, it's sort of the same thing. They want to be accepted by the cool kids. But by the way, it doesn't mean it's not something we should worry about. We should, and we are. Trump mentioned it. Communism is the great fight, okay? It is absolutely, because it's a trick. I bring it up because young people are tricked into this. They think they're getting into this great movement that's helping the middle class and the lower class and it's helping everybody. It is not. It was never intended to. They think they're getting into this system where, everybody will have a say, democracy. It is not. It is not. Leftism is not about democracy. It is the antithesis of democracy. It needs total control. Fred Siegel goes into that, goes into the roots. Okay? Now, you can also just go and read what they say. This was the original, the first one I had up. They tell you everything that they're about, and they're not pretending. The commies aren't even hiding how they plan to use the Democrat Party. Okay? The Democrat Party is going to have a come to Jesus moment, and soon, as the socialists take over the party and uproot entrenched Democrats like Daniel Goldman and Hakeem Jeffries, we've been over that in the past, the Democrat Socialists of America aren't hiding what they plan to do to the Democrat Party. And basically what this goes into, and this is a guy, we'll probably play him a little bit here. This guy is the head or the whatever it is, co-chair in New York. Basically what they're saying is we're using the Democrats. We need to get on ballots. I used to say when if the conversation of I'm drawing this blank on his name. What's his name? The rapper who got himself on the ballot, Kanye. When Kanye got on the ballot on a couple of states, that's no small feat, getting on the ballot. These guys were smart enough to figure that out and said, we don't need to recreate all that. We'll just take over the Democrat Party. Right. And then what do they want to do? We're going to play that in a second. Let's play a little bit of this.
Our candidates run as Democrats. We're on the Democratic Party ballot line.
Sorry about that.
We contest the primaries, and when they're in the legislature, they're part of the Democratic Party caucus. But we don't agree with the way the Democratic Party establishment organizes or runs its party apparatus, and so we try to build independence by focusing on volunteer-led movement. We think that everyone should be able to be trained and to become someone who can participate in the political process, and we don't really think that Democratic Party campaigns in the establishment are run that way. And I think
see that nice soft talk and see who they pick here. By the way, this is a non-American born guy. He went to Yale. He worked in an art gallery or something. And then at some point, very recently, he decided to become an electrician. Okay? It's always for show. Always for show with these people. Okay? Now, this is what they are really about. Let's put this up. This is their platform. Takes me like 6 keystrokes to get this thing up here.
Democrat Socialists of America releasing their updated platform, which calls for sweeping changes to American institutions. Here is the platform. Eliminate the U.S. Senate. Replace the president and the Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary chosen by Congress. Have amnesty for all immigrants and defund the Department of War. They also want a 32-hour work week with no reduction in pay or benefits, public ownership of the nation's largest corporations, a federal wealth tax, and passing a new Green New Deal. Here's part of the mission statement, quote, if we lived in a classless society and governed ourselves, we could freely build a world without war or poverty, where no one suffers for their race, gender, or religion. This world is a guiding star of our movement. So it's all rainbows and puppy dogs.
She's right. They always lead with those things, okay? It's always, hey, we're going to be kind. Get rid of the president and the Senate? If you're a young person, you've been spouting off saying, we want democracy. We don't want the oligarchs to control things. We want it to be more of democracy and everybody has a vote. That's the opposite of that, guys. That's the opposite. Who do you think they want to control it? They don't want Donald Trump to control it. They want to control it. Get back to what Fred Siegel said. The intellectuals and the elites felt that they should be in charge. They still feel that. They still feel that they should make the decisions. Okay? Leftism can't work ever, partly because it goes against human nature. In other words, it tries to squash people's freedom, and freedom, people have a yearning for it. It eventually comes out. Okay? But then there are some mechanical reasons why. You saw it in there. They need to tax other people. They don't make anything. They don't produce anything. At the very least, we have to produce food. They don't produce anything. They need to take from somebody else. I think I shared already the John Smith situation, the colony, I think maybe I didn't, in Jamestown, when the Jamestown colony was being settled, it was failing. Actually, people were dying, it was dying. John Smith comes over and says, wait a second, I see what's wrong. We can't be collectivists. Johnny, you take that 50 acres. Tim, you take that 50. Thomas, you take that 50. Everybody go and do their own thing, and we'll meet back here and talk about how things are going. And they flourished. It doesn't make any sense to the intellectual that left to their own devices, people can do well. Capitalism is the absence of a system. It allows you to go use your talents. When you are free and you have personal liberty, the things that you think and can discover and that you want to create can come out. That's the anti-leftist platform. Okay? Anti-leftist. All of you young people who think you're identifying with the right strategy, you are identifying with the people who destroyed your country in the first place, and you're supporting them to keep destroying it. There will never be peace or a lack of suffering or a lack of chaos. With leftism, it's always suffering and chaos. Why? It's easier to control those people. It's easier to control people who are suffering and who are in chaos. If they're in chaos and suffering, it's harder to organize. It's harder to speak your mind. You're just worrying about survival. Okay? You will never have a decent society with leftism. It has never worked. It can never work. So these young people need to wake up and stop supporting the people that got them into this jam. We talked about healthcare the other day. Healthcare is an entirely Democrat leftist invention right now. There were 0 Republicans who voted for Obamacare. 0. Trump's trying to fix it. What's his solution? Give all of taxpayer money that's going right now to insurance companies and bureaucracy, give it back to the citizen. Let him decide. That's freedom. If you're a young person who identifies with the left, that's one vote. You get the vote on what to do with your money. You don't have to have an insurance company telling you what to do. That's what that is. You get to decide. Okay, that's leftism. And it's good for us to see that there are polls that are showing, hey, it's not that popular. It doesn't mean we don't have to worry about it. We absolutely have to worry about it. It's unbelievably important and dangerous. But what you can see from that poll is that we're being tricked. It's the charade. It's what Fred Siegel says. It's the media and entertainment. It's academia. It's government, the elected class. They sort of work together to make us think that that's what it is. But if you took away our money and the corrupted elections from the left, there'd be a 20% party. That's it. There would be a 20% party. Okay. All right. Where do I want to go next? Okay. I want to go to homeschooling. Why? Because it ties into this notion of young people having their minds twisted. This is what I want to put up to start. 2024 SAT performance gap. Education majors versus homeschool students. Look at that. More than 100 points difference. Now, who did this poll? Source, College Board 2024 Total Group Report. It's their data, okay? Why am I bringing this up? When we lived in LA, there were a lot of homeschoolers, believe it or not, in Los Angeles. There are actually a lot of homeschoolers here in Tennessee too, but that makes more sense. Homeschoolers want their kids out of the system, out of the government system. In LA, I mention this all the time. I talk about it in terms of the crunchy moms. The crunchy moms found out that even though they always identified as Democrats and the left, when COVID came around, they realized, oh no, the people I supported are trying to make me take that vaccine and give it to my kids. The crunchy moms generally had an issue that was a bridge too far for them, which was vaccines. They were often homeschoolers too. So homeschoolers do better. I bring this up because there is this article. These 2 lunatic lefty women. Hold on, let me get it up. There we go. These 2 lunatic lefty women, Jennifer Welch and the other one's Abby something or another. Okay? Jennifer Welch blasts homeschooling as trickle-down stupidity and fundamental crazy Christian problem. All right? Now, if I can find it here, I've got some of this video. Okay? This is coming, by the way, from the people who tell us that a man can have a baby. This is the people we're supposed to listen to. Okay, let's see if I can get this to play. Oh, hold on.
Schooling. These are people that fear critical thinking more than anything on the planet, that have to be taught a script of reality, and that they're incapable of critically thinking. They're incapable of deduction skills. And what pisses me off about this the most is how many parents project a script onto their kids. I'm a dumbass, so therefore I'm going to make sure you're a dumbass. This is trickle down stupidity. This is MAGA on steroids. This is Maha. This is trad wife. This is unvaxxed and unjacked and all that shit. This is the worst in this shit. Is America has a crazy Christian problem.
Okay. America has a crazy Christian problem. Look at all the things she put in. By the way, the reason why I didn't stop it is every time you stop those Facebook ones, you have to then press the speaker button again because you lose it. Okay. She's the woman who's telling us that men can have babies and that we can't define a woman, or that we should defund the police, That's a great idea. Or like the Democrat Socialists of America, like get rid of the Department of War, as if suddenly all of the history of humankind of the others wanting to take over societies is just going to miraculously change. Okay? Talk about critical thinking. Has she read the Declaration of Independence? Has she read the Constitution? I don't mean has she read about it by the leftists. Has she read it? Parents who homeschool, the data is way clear. You can see it in the thing I just put up, but it is in almost every single ounce of data gathered. Homeschooling parents do better. Homeschooling kids do better. Why? Because they're getting attention from somebody who really cares. If I can find it, I don't think I can find it. I have a piece of this. Oh yeah, maybe this is it. Hold on. Let me see if I can have it. This is her partner in crime, whatever her name is, Abby something or another, spouting off. Let's just see if I can find it.
Hello, Pumps. Hello, Kylie.
All right,
this is
listen to this.
Ellie
This is
coming
what-
to you from Minnesota.
This is the question that
And what I have
started the
absolutely
discussion.
fucking had it with is watching some of the stupidest people I went to school with decide that they're qualified to homeschool their children. These are the people who...
Does this resonate with what we talked about with Fred Siegel? The academics, the elites, they look down on the middle class because the middle class were farmers or electricians or mechanics or just mid-level managers in a company. They had their life, they loved it, they worked, they wanted to stay out of problems. They didn't need two incomes because back then the money hadn't been printed into oblivion yet. Okay? See what that caller's saying? She's resentful. See Jennifer Welch, this call is what led to the clip I just showed you, but I'm going to show you something else from this Angie Sullivan, who goes into her own resentments. And you hear this woman, she's resentful. These people, they misunderstand their resentment and their self-righteousness for wisdom. You can hear this in this person.
who, couldn't hand in a single homework assignment, coasted through every group project, were proud members of the D honor roll, and now they're writing these Facebook manifestos laden with spelling and grammatical errors about how public schools are evil and full of indoctrination, and so as a result, they're going to be homeschooling their precious little peanuts. These idiots' competence to confidence ratio is absolutely off the charts. It's the blind leading the blind. And it feels like this has only gotten worse in Trump's America, which I'm sure is no coincidence, where being uninformed somehow is a personality trait that we're just passing on to our children. I fucking had it with it. I can't stand these morons attempting to homeschool their children when they probably shouldn't have even had children to start with. That's all.
Okay, the mean girls are laughing. They're saying, oh yeah, she's with us. This is coming from the people. These people are the ones who told us you got to wear a mask. That never worked. These are the ones who told us you got to take a vaccine. That not only did it not work, it hurts you. Okay? These are the ones that told us, yes, even though there's the Wuhan lab that got funding to do gain of function research from us, right next to where this disease was found for the first time. It didn't come from the lab. It came from some wet market of pangolin oatmeal or something. These are the critical thinkers who want to be in charge. Okay? These people are dangerous. These are mean girls. These are mean girls. Look at these people. We're going to play a little bit more because I want to get to this Angie Sullivan. She has some ridiculous takes.
Right. And just the socialization. For me personally, it was that I would have gotten up on my hands and knees and strapped them to my back and crawled to get them to school every day, just to get them where I wasn't. So I don't.
Hear what she's saying? She did not want to be around her kids. That's just her point. She did not want to be around her kids. She actually says somewhere in there that people who want to be around their kids all day are bad and broken. She doesn't want to be around the kids. I've always thought one of the great tricks men ever pulled on women, and the feminists played right into it, was to trick them that going to work was the hard thing to do. Going to work is easy compared to staying home and being with children. That's the hard thing. The right thing is often the hard thing. She's saying, I don't want to do the hard thing. I don't want to do the hard thing. I don't want to be around them. I'll give it to somebody else. Homeschoolers are saying the opposite. I care enough and I love my children enough that I want them to get the education that I know they need. what we have in the education system right now. We go over it all the time. It's an illiteracy factory. Most of these public schools now, we even showed in Massachusetts how most of them can't read in the public schools. So this idiot trying to tell us, these two idiots and that caller who's an idiot, trying to tell us, we know what's best. You people who want to do homeschooling. I did not do homeschooling. I wish I could have. It wouldn't have worked for my personality or for my daughter. But I homeschooled her in that I spend time with her, educating her on important things. She's probably the only kid, the only 17-year-old who can spout off Thomas Sowell, who can talk about the American system, who can give you Austrian economics, who would know that the cure for high prices is high prices. I take time and teach her that. So even though I don't have her at home for homeschooling, I do my own version. What these ladies are saying is anybody that wants to homeschool is an idiot and is bad. It's the reverse. These people are the idiots. Why do I bring this up? Partly because I've said to one of my friends in LA who's a homeschooler, they're coming for homeschool. What they will do is this. They say, you need to get licensed. Again, use government to restrict competition. You need to get licensed. You need to prove to us that you know these subject matters. And then when they get enough homeschooling parents who are going to be able to show that they know these subject matters, they're going to come up with new ways to restrict them. They don't want you to educate your kid. These two are the poster child for the evil left. Absolute poster child for the evil left. Homeschooling is a great option if you can do it. Everybody can't do it. People need to work. People's personalities won't work with it. Their children don't respond as well. Sometimes they need the socialization. There's a lot of reasons. But public school illiteracy factories aren't the only place. And this notion that somehow this is a Christian problem. One of the two of these idiots says that she's not talking about Presbyterians or Methodists. It's all the other Christians. Dangerous people. Dangerous people. They want to be in charge. They're not looking for democracy at all. They're looking for total control. Okay, we're gonna get off the crazy mean girls here, and I want to share, if I can find it. Oh, actually, I hope I have time for that. I loved. Oh darn, I cannot find it. All right, well, we're gonna go to JD anyways. Okay. By the way, I loved the movie Rocky. I just saw yesterday, there's a trailer out, which if I have time, I'm going to play it. It's over 2 minutes long, but I still might play it. It's almost 3 minutes long. It's about Sylvester Stallone making the movie Rocky. I'm 58. I'm old enough to have seen Rocky in the movie theater, and I'm old enough to remember seeing Rocky 2 in the movie theater. We did this thing back in my house where when Rocky came on one of the TV stations, which is how it worked back then. It was sort of pre-video. It would come on one of the TV stations in Massachusetts. It was channel 38 or channel 56, I think. So it had commercials. But we would slip in a videotape and we would record the whole thing, and then we would watch it over and over and over again. And we used to watch that ending, the fight scene, before every workout as a kid. Every time we wanted to run and go ride bikes, would play that and then be a maniac. Loved it. It's the American story. It really is the American story. So, oh, hold on. I'm trying to get this JD thing on while I'm doing this. So if we have time, we're going to play that. But I'm going to definitely watch that show. Okay, hold on. Is that the one? No, that's not the one. Yeah, here's the one. Okay. This is part of JD. By the way, JD and the Fraud Squad continue to find massive fraud and get rid of it. Okay? Here he's on Joe Rogan. I highly recommend it. It's 2 hours and 54 minutes. Okay? So it's just a shy of 3 hours. It's well worth it. You can play it on speed if you want, but they go in a lot of topics and you get really sort of an unvarnished view. This is kind of long, so I'm going to break it up, but it's important.
Fucking people scare me. I'm really concerned that people think that's a good idea, and that they think that socialism just hasn't been done correctly.
They do
that drives me nuts, because I think a lot of like really well-intentioned, really kind and empathetic young people think that that's the way to go. And I do not think they understand the dangers of this ideology.
I think he's talking about himself. He was a Bernie bro as recently as 2016. Okay? I think he's talking about himself. And I say this all the time. Young people, you've been tricked. You mean well. You're right, the system's corrupted. You're just wrong at why and what the solution is. Listen to Joe.
Because it always leads to one thing. It leads to a very powerful military government that controls the population. Period. Yep. End of discussion. And if you play it out, it is literally the only way they can get people to give up their money.
Yes.
It's the only way they can get them to give up their property. And when you're hearing like Mamdani talk about freezing rents and taking bad landlords and then confiscating their property, you're like, this is step one of what's happened in every communist dictatorship throughout history. Yeah. This is what happened in North Korea. Give the government the land and we'll make sure that no one ever has to worry about food. What a great idea.
Yeah, man.
Look how it turned out.
So I don't know who said this, but the whole argument of communism is that you seize the means of production, but because the means of production, the most powerful means of production is the human mind, you ultimately have to get into totalitarianism.
Yes.
You have to have control.
That is well said. It's what we talk about when we talk about individual freedom and liberty. Ultimately, in the great book, 1984, there's that scene towards the end where he's being tortured to say 4 + 4 is 5. And he says, finally, okay, it's 5. And they keep on torturing him and says, why are you torturing me? And they say, because now we need you to believe it.
Of that most fundamental element of the human person.
You also take away motivation.
Correct.
And there's a thing that people don't like, which is extreme wealth. But you have to understand that if it wasn't for the motivation of extreme wealth, you would not have an iPhone.
So you
wouldn't have these things.
Okay. Joe is right. By the way, you don't have to worry about extreme wealth if you have the opportunity to go make what you want to make and run what you want to run. I'm just trying to see. Oh, yeah, here it is. What Joe says is absolutely right. Okay? And what JD is pointing out is that this is why it requires total control, because you got to get the mind. You can't just get the means of production. You got to get that too, but you got to get the mind. Okay, that's why Fred Siegel says they try to trick you. They need everything to be suffering and chaos. Therefore, you can't think straight. And it never works. And it always winds up with totalitarianism. Always. And one of maybe the only reason why it hasn't happened here is because of that brilliant Second Amendment. Probably partly the first two, but that brilliant Second Amendment. Because in every other place, go do the history. When Castro was in the hills and he was doing his revolution, he armed everybody. He wanted everybody to have a gun. As soon as he won, what did he tell the people? We got to collect the arms now. You got to give me control for 6 months. Then it's the People's Republic of Cuba. Don't worry. They're still waiting. Okay? They never got it. Okay? They skip over here and they talk about California. It's sort of essentially the same subject, but I think this is important.
I'm not one of these people who says we should just abandon California to the Democrats, like let them deal with their own problems. I think California is like a quintessential part of the American dream. Like if you just abandon California, you've like lost something very core to American culture. And I don't want to give up on it. Like I'm not saying we're going to win California in my lifetime necessarily, but I don't like the idea of giving up on it.
Well, it's not just giving up on. I mean, giving up on it would be terrible. It's an awesome state. The real problem is it's deeply corrupt. Yes. I mean, deeply corrupt. And what they're trying to do is make it impossible for the other side to win.
Yeah.
And there should be laws against that. First of all,
by the way, there are laws against that. We have had them. But we just talked about this. Once they trick you, you vote for it and they get in. Now they start changing the laws. California has legalized election corruption. You can't ask for a voter ID. I mean, you can't ask for an ID if somebody's going to vote. You can do ballot harvesting. We've been over this in the past. That is all deeply, deeply corrupt. But once they corrupt that system, it's very hard to get it back. I trust in Trump, but I'm a little surprised the feds aren't all over California because that LA election was obviously corrupt. The same pattern. Spencer Pratt Keep an eye on him, by the way. I've been focusing on him more than any other show that I know of because he is a real voice who's coming on. He did not go away after that corrupt election. He's still, with a real voice, making tons of content exposing the corruption. He was a voice and he won. He's leading on that night or leading in second place. And then what happens? Stop the voting, bring it all in the ballots, and guess what? The Nithya Raman takes over and then they declare it. It's the same pattern every time. Tonight, Trump is going to give this speech that he's talking about. He says that it's going to have something to do with election corruption. He says it's going to have other things in there too. We're going to wait and see. It's at 9 o'clock. Nobody communicates like him. It is true that we could bring in 1,000 people on camera with videos of them actually corrupting the election. We could bring God himself down and he could sit here and tell us, yes, it was corrupted. And many of the people on the left will not believe it. They've been, demoralized. Their brain is gone. Okay? But not everybody. So we're going to see what he says. What Rogan is saying in there, by the way, is on a personal note. I used to live in California, as you know. I loved it. The politics got way bad. I couldn't take that. But California itself is awesome. And it represents, not unlike Rocky, part of the American dream. California was the go west, young man. Go make your bones. Do anything you want to do out there. It was freedom. Go and build a business. I used to love to drive. We lived in Studio City, sort of up in the hills, but not way up. So I used to drive up, and I'd love to drive along Mulholland Boulevard, and you could look out in certain areas and you could see the whole San Fernando Valley. I used to love to drive out and see that because the San Fernando Valley was this unbelievable expression of American exceptionalism post-World War I and II. More too, but where you take a GI Bill benefit like a mortgage for a house and you go get something back then for thousands of dollars and you'd start a life. And that's the middle class, or it was the middle class that the elites and the left hated and still do hate. They don't like the middle class. And by the way, the money's always in the middle class, always, because it's bigger. And there's some great videos, and we played them before, maybe we'll play them again, where Thomas Sowell talks about how in America, there's fluidity, to borrow that word from the left I borrowed the other day, between the lower, the middle, and the upper. And it goes both ways. You can go from the lower to the middle, from the middle to the upper. You can go from the upper to the middle, from the middle to the lower. Okay? They're not monoliths. They're not stuck. Not here anyways. And the left can't stand that. Cannot stand it. Okay. I want to try to find, if I can, there's a piece about, I don't know if I can find it. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. All right, get rid of that. No, thank you. Thank you, JD. Let's get this other one up here. All right. Do a little medical stuff. Pentagon mandates testosterone screening for personnel 30 plus. That's the great Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. Okay. And basically, the oversimplified version of the whole thing is that they're doing testosterone testing. Why? Because we're now finding out, or we've always known, that hormones play a massive role as you get older. When you're younger, things are mostly working well. If you've got issues with your hormones, then that's a problem too when you're younger. But generally speaking, things start to break down when you're older, certainly over 30. And men, when testosterone is lowered, can run into problems. Okay, certainly there can be sexual function problems, which is bad enough, but there can be motivation problems. There can be muscle problems. There can be mind problems. Hormones are extremely powerful. Men are lucky because it's generally just testosterone. Women have it harder. It's much more of an alchemy with 3 or 4 different hormones driving things, including testosterone. And so what they don't say in here is, it talks about testing testosterone. If they have women, hopefully they'll do full testing of women. We're sort of now, thank goodness, waking up to the notion that women have as much issues with hormones as men do, and in fact, maybe even more. And so we're starting to really dive in, and there are some great women out there that are doing great things to help women who are going through menopause and other things. We just used to call it menopause, and that was it. Okay? But it's a hormonal imbalance. And hormones are powerful. It's why you can get young men to go and fight wars, because their testosterone is high. Are there trade-offs to everything? Sure. Should every guy do every stupid thing that they think to do at 21 or 20 or 18 or 15? No. But that's also part of the survival mechanism. Okay? Now, there's another piece here I wanted to show, if I can find it, as usual. This is Heather McDonald. We've played her before. She's a writer, a thinker, a strong voice. And I just want you to hear what she has to say here about men. And it has to do with testosterone. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Hold on. Okay. I don't know what's happening here.
It is not an accident. It is not a product of systemic misogyny that males brought us the scientific revolution, that they circumnavigated the globe, that they spent centuries tinkering at home in the Royal Society in London in the 17th century, fascinated by how the world works and determined to conquer it with a Promethean spirit. Yes, there's females that have had that drive to conquer, to understand, of course, but it is disproportionately the male of the species that is willing to do stupid things, that is willing to put himself at risk, that is willing to be crazy and aggressive, but that has the rewards that we are all parasitic upon. And if we disappear males from civilization, we will be living off the fumes of their accomplishments.
That is well said. Okay. She is tapping into something there. It's why Pete Hegseth is testing testosterone, because think about it. If somebody's still in the military and they still have the desire to fight for the country, but their testosterone goes way down, well, you can supplement it. I'm not going to get into all the ways that can happen, and you got to be careful, and it does make changes permanently, and a whole bunch of things. And there's a way to do it naturally and other things sometimes. But just the fact that we're addressing it and understanding it, the Promethean spirit, and I love that we're all parasitic on or upon. I love that concept. Like, go back to the Democrat Socialists of America. They want to get rid of the Department of War. That's maybe the most retarded thing I've ever heard of. Ask any Indian tribe from 200, 300, 400, 500 years ago. We want to get rid of all of your war stuff. No more weapons, no more leaders who like war, zero. You're just going to go out in the fields. They'd kill you because they know that the other tribes would kill them. We need testosterone in society. And there are trade-offs. It makes men do stupid things. Okay? But I wanted to mention that because Heather McDonald, I highly recommend you read anything that she's written. She's written a lot about the mismatch in education and other things. But she's extremely eloquent, and she makes these, in my opinion, they're not complicated. They're simple points, but she makes them so understandable. Okay, now, I can't help myself. I am going to play the Rocky thing. Okay, I don't know that I'm going to play the whole thing, but we're going to see. Again, Rocky is the American story. Apollo Creed even says in the story, it's the 4th of July. I will be the one to give a no-name a chance. They picked the Italian Stallion. That was his nickname because Columbus was Italian. And if you remember, Apollo Creed dresses up like Uncle Sam. He's got the American flag hat and stuff when the fight starts. It's an American story. And then what this is showing is that the actual making of the movie is an American story. And it ties in California, because that's where these things were happening back then and could happen. Believing in himself. You can't do this in communist countries. Leftism, this doesn't work. All right, let's watch this.
Name?
I'm Mike. Acting's what I live and breathe for. And I gotta have faith in myself.
You need to show everyone who you are.
I like this girl, Sylvester.
Sylvester?
That's right, his real name.
It's got a nice ring to it. Sylvester Stallone. It's like Peter Parker.
Are you delusional? You don't got the looks to be a movie star. Not to mention, you talk like you got rocks in your mouth.
Yeah, I know I don't look like Einstein, but I got a brain. The only way for me to get to show people is me to have to write a script for myself.
Yeah, so do that. Write a script. And give yourself the best part. There's something big here.
You wrote this in 3.5 days.
This is freaking good. Touch someone like Chuck Bronson, or we could do Eastwood.
Guys, I play Rocky.
I have no idea what that means.
So the writer wants to be in it, as the lead.
No, absolutely not. Throw some money at him. 25K.
No.
Raise the offer. Try 75. You're parking cars, for Christ's sake. Sylvester.
No.
175.
Go to 200.
No?
I'm not giving this up. Not for $1 million. Not for 10. Hey.
All right, now if you do this,
Comes with some strings.
if you ever fall 1 day behind schedule,
The meat's frozen solid.
they're gonna kick you to the curb
You broke your hand.
and they can replace you with a real actor.
I don't even know what I'm doing. It's any good.
Just do the best acting of your life and everything will be fine.
What kiss?
How far behind schedule are they?
They're not.
This movie, it's about having a belief in yourself. It's about going the distance. I put my heart and soul on the page. If I'm not willing to live up to what I wrote, then what's the point? So do you believe in me? Or not? I thought you said you could box.
I lied. Let go of the head. I'm an actor, goddammit. You always lie.
Yeah.
How great is that? How great is that? I can't wait for that to come out. I think it's in November. That might even get me to the movie theater if it's going to the movie theaters. That is the American story. You can't believe in yourself if the government is controlling every aspect of your life. You can't believe in yourself and do anything if everything relies on your loyalty to the government. Young people are falling for this trick. Stop it. They will actually kill you. You will think that you're getting somewhere, and if you don't keep going as far left as they go to total totalitarianism, they will kill you. That's been the story from the beginning of time with leftism. All right, one last thing. I know it's kind of late. I'm going to try to mention this quick comment without mentioning who it is or the person's sex, because I don't have permission to share it. A person that is important to me had some medical issues. Those medical issues, they decided to pursue alternative remedies. Those alternative remedies worked completely. It included diet, immunotherapy, and some other things. I mention a lot, ivermectin, all the studies about what that's doing with cancer. This person, I'm mentioning this because this is something I know specifically because this person is close to me and they're sharing with me what's been going on. So I know that it's real. All of the issues have cleared up. As far as I know, they did not use ivermectin, but they may have. I'm using it to show that there's hope out there, that we don't have to just rely on the doctors. Some doctors are great. Most of them just learned what they learned. They don't know any better. By the way, they're in that expert class, the academics, that they think they know better. They're the ones who told us, get the vaccine. They first told us the vaccine would work. It doesn't work. What's even worse is that we now know that the companies that made the vaccine said that they knew it didn't work. I'm sharing this story to say there is hope out there. We've talked before about AI for any medical issues. Use it. All it is your time. Get some alternative opinions. Put in your test results. Pardon me. Okay? I didn't play it today, but I may another day. Anthony Pomplano played a video where he and his wife had a problem with a pregnancy, and the doctors basically said, it's not going to work out okay. And they plugged it into AI, and AI said, basically, it can work out okay. And then they brought it back to the doctor, and the doctor said, I missed something. Okay? Use the technology. Listen to people. Even though you think you need to listen to doctors, maybe not. I'm not saying don't. I'm saying take in the information. This person that's close to me, this person got a great result. And I'm thrilled about that. So there's hope out there. All right. Tonight, 9 p.m., I'll be watching Trump. I'm a triple Trumper. I trust in Trump. Doesn't mean that I think he's always right. He's a human. He's a sinner. He's wrong sometimes. But he's been more right than he's been wrong. And if you've been betting against him since the escalator in 2015, you've been a loser. We'll talk about it tomorrow, I'm sure. All right. Like, subscribe, and follow. It helps with the algorithms, helps get the word out. We're fighting this fight. We want more people to hear these arguments. And I will see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. As the great Father Mike Schmidt says, I'm praying for you. Please pray for me. I'm rooting for you.